Hey there, future bankrupt citizen. Welcome to the world's most expensive subscription service, one you didn't sign up for, but are definitely paying for. That's right, the US national debt is a staggering $37 trillion. That's enough to buy Twitter 740 times, if anyone still wanted to. This isn't just a number, it's a fiscal horror story, dressed as a boring economics lecture. Think of it like a toxic relationship with your credit card. If your credit card was also on fire, held by every taxpayer, and being used to fund everything from aircraft carriers to farm subsidies for corn nobody needs. We are lunging into the $100 trillion problem no one wants to solve. Because honestly, it's easier to pretend it's your grandkids' problem. The bill grows by 60,000 every single second, faster than you can say generational theft. So what is this mythical beast called the national debt? It's not just a big number they show on cable news to make you feel poor. Let's break it down with a bar analogy. The federal budget is your paycheck. The deficit is what happens when you spend $400 on artisanal cocktails in a single night. The debt, that's the entire soul-crushing bar tab you've been running up for decades. It's the cumulative I owe you from every time you said put it on my tab. Now, who holds this tab? About 2/3 is held by the public. That's everyone from your grandma with her treasury bonds to the Chinese government. The other third is intragovernmental debt, which is basically the government lending money to itself. It's like moving money from your left pocket to your right pocket and calling yourself a financial genius. And the interest, that's the vig, the juice, the cover charge just for the privilege of owing all that money. It's the world's worst subscription service, and you can cancel it. So how did we end up with a tab larger than the entire global crypto market cap? It wasn't one wild night out. It was decades of fiscal frat parties where everyone kept ordering rounds but nobody wanted to pay. Let's rewind the tape. The US has been borrowing since day one, funding a revolution with IOUs to the French. By 1863, the Civil War pushed debt past 1 billion. Fast forward to 2025, and we are adding that much every 15 hours. The real spikes came from 4 main chapters: Reagan's defense splurge, the 2008 bailouts, Trump's tax cuts, and COVID stimulus. The pandemic alone jacked spending by 50% in 2 years, turning the debt into a rocket ship with no off switch. And let's be real, both parties handed out credit cards like they were coupons. Republicans slashed taxes without cutting spending, and Democrats greenlit entitlements without funding them. It's the political equivalent of that scene in Succession, where everyone's fighting for power but nobody knows how to run the company. The debt ceiling, a recurring hostage negotiation where Congress plays chicken with the global economy, then inevitably raises the limit and orders another round. The 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill Act alone added $4.6 trillion to the deficit, because why not? And tariffs, a temporary band-aid that barely covers the bullet wound. We are now at 121% debt to GDP, meaning we owe more than our entire economy produces in a year. For context, that's like maxing out your credit card while unemployed. The lesson: debt is the one bipartisan project everyone can agree on, as long as nobody has to solve it. Let's debug the source code of this national failure. Why is the entire system so catastrophically broken? First, meet the untouchable trio of mandatory spending: Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. They now consume over 70% of the budget. They're autopiloting like a Netflix series that won't end, regardless of whether anyone's watching. Then there is interest, the silent assassin of your tax dollars. In 2024, interest payments hit $880 billion, more than Medicare or national defense, making it the third largest federal expense. By 2035, interest alone could hit $1.8 trillion, becoming a fiscal vampire sucking dry everything from infrastructure to education. Think of it as a predatory loan from the mob, except the mob is everyone who owns US bonds. Now enter the debt ceiling, Congress's recurring hostage crisis where lawmakers pretend to care about fiscal responsibility until the last second, then raise the limit and order another round of spending. The 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill Act added $4.6 trillion to the deficit while raising the debt limit by $5 trillion. Like maxing out your credit card and then asking for a higher limit instead of paying the bill. Tariffs? A drop in the bucket. Despite generating record revenue, it's less than 0.07% of the debt. At that rate, it would take 120 years to pay it off, assuming it stops growing, which it won't. The system is designed for failure. Politicians treat the debt like a problem for future voters, while current policies, tax cuts without spending cuts, stimulus without revenue add trillions. It's like financing a Lamborghini with a minimum wage job. And let's not forget the global irony. 3.4 billion people live in countries where debt interest outweighs health or education spending. Because why fund schools when you can buy bankers a fifth yacht? Ultimately, the dysfunction is bipartisan. Republicans cut taxes, Democrats expand entitlements, and both refuse to touch the third rail of mandatory spending. It's the political equivalent of a group chat where everyone says someone else will pay and the bill just keeps growing. So what happens when a $37 trillion debt finally jumps the shark and bites? First, say hello to crowding out the economic phenomenon where government borrowing gobbles up capital like a Pac-Man on steroids, leaving less for private investment, startups, and that fusion energy project that might have saved us all. Think of it as the federal government cutting in line at the Capitol buffet, leaving businesses and innovators holding empty plates. Then there is inflation. As the Treasury prints more bonds to fund its habit, the money supply dilutes, making your paycheck feel like a coupon for a discount existential crisis. Worst case scenario, a full-blown debt crisis. If investors lose faith in US bonds, interest rates spike, the dollar tanks, and we enter a recession that makes 2008 look like a minor inconvenience. It's the fiscal equivalent of a credit card default, but with nuclear weapons and a collapsing global economy. So yeah, no pressure. So how do we fix this fiscal tire fire? Don't worry, Washington's finest minds have devised brilliant, totally not insane solutions. First up, grow our way out. Yes, because what works in SimCity always works in reality. Next, the classic bipartisan commission. Because nothing says solution like a committee that publishes a report everyone ignores, like a Netflix sequel nobody asked for. Then there is tax the rich, a crowd pleaser until lawmakers realize their donors are the rich. The 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill Act cut taxes by $4.5 trillion. Tariffs will save us, cried someone who failed. Econ 101. For true innovators, there is monetize the debt. Just have the Fed print more money. Sure, that might turn the dollar into Zimbabwean fun bucks. But hey, and my personal favorite, sell Alaska back to Russia. But the real solution, do nothing. It's the bipartisan favorite. Why? Because solving debt requires cutting spending or raising taxes, and that's electoral kryptonite. So we will just keep kicking the can down the road until the road collapses into a fiscal sinkhole. So why does this $37 trillion dumpster fire rage on unchecked? Simple. Solving it is political suicide. Welcome to Congress. The debt is the ultimate hot potato in a game where no one wants to be left holding it. Tackling it requires either raising taxes, career annihilation for Republicans, or cutting spending, career annihilation for Democrats. So instead, we get performative theatrics, debt ceiling crises that always end with a last-minute raise, bipartisan commissions that produce doorstop reports nobody reads, and tariffs that are fiscal spitballs at a volcano. The truth? The system is designed to prioritize re-election over responsibility. As long as voters reward short-term handouts and punish long-term planning, the can gets kicked down the road straight into your grandkids' retirement account. The debt grows by $59,000 every second, but political courage, that's growing at 100% annually. So we'll keep pretending until the bond market stages an intervention. Because why solve a problem when you can just meme it into the abyss?
Bye, have a great time.